you did mention that you were working at the time the strike began, I believe, in a factory,
Mattress factory.
mattress factory, that was owned by a Jewish man,
Yeah. Julius Wiles.
Julius Wiles. So would you like to say what the circumstances were? You were working in this factory, but you were also interested in what was going on in the hospitals. And how did you get interested? How did you go from the mattress factory to the hospital?
Well, you know, I didn't go from the mattress factory, but the whole thing that I did, all of those stuff that you hear me talking about, the organizing with Stokely Carmichael coming down, all that stuff, all of that I did while I was working at the mattress factory. I worked at the mattress factory from 1956 to 1975. So I was there the whole time.
I see.
And what I did with my boss and his two sons is that I kept them abreast of what I was doing. So they understood. I mean, I used to get arrested most every day going home driving my car. So they began to loan me their truck or their car to drive home so cops wouldn't stop me. So there was let me tell you what Mr. Wild did for me again, we have never talked about it this way. He had a telephone put by my sewing machine so I could get telephone calls from community people while I was sewing and would not interrupt what was going on at the mattress factory. And I was the foreman at that. I got to be the foreman at the mattress factory, designing mattresses and stuff, and I'm still pretty close to the family.
And what was it about you that made them feel they wanted to support your activities outside of the factory?
And again, I think that is the reason that you are here. They didn't want to support me. They want to support truth and right. Mm. And I was an agent in that. So the mattress factory, and there were a lot of other whites that I knew even on Johns Island that I began, when I got shot at with the police on Johns Island, the police department wouldn't even investigate. But I was able to go to a white man over there that owned a grocery store and told him what was going on, and he had made the cops come and did an investigation. Mm. So that's where we are.
And so it was because this particular person, Mr. Wiles, had a big ethical sense.
That's right.
And was interested in justice himself.
That's right. And he knew injustice. Being Jewish, he knew injustice.
Yes,
he was quite familiar with injustice, and he was just really he became almost like a father to me. Between him and another white gentleman who would loan me the initial money when I bought into the radio station. Mm-hmm. So I started even owning part of the radio station while I was still working at the mattress factory. But I've been able to be able to tell truth to people, and a lot of folk even would walk away from it early, but they'll come back to truth, and the inhumane treatment of people. If it is projected right, most folk would respond to that.
Well, it's mighty good to hear about them. I don't think there were a lot of people like that on Johns Island.
No. Wild Mattress, he was downtown Charleston.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, he lived on the Battery, and his son still got a factory right here in North Charleston. But again, I think there are good people everywhere. My problem has been that good people very rarely stand up against bad people. But they're good-hearted people, and I think that even I say now about the white community, I would say 85 to 90% of the white people I know or been around are good people, but they're not going to stand up against bad white people. They just wish that it'll go away or wish good stuff will happen. And what you're saying, what I'm saying, you can't wish it away.
Well,
you have to take a stand.
You can. So it's good to know about the Wiles. And it's very interesting to imagine you at a sewing machine with a telephone in your hand. You need two hands to work a sewing machine. I worked sewing machines myself, so.
Well, you didn't work the kind that I worked. My sewing machine was the one that goes around the table, the size of a mattress, and I was what they call a tape edge person. It's a big sewing machine that goes. If you can hold it right, it'll go around by itself, go around the corners and turn that with a tape edge machine.
I see. No, I never did do one of those.
No, that's that giant.